Now.
Okay. Okay. So it's it's a formal process. So I think we met in Spring Festival, right? So we had a nice lunch together. You know, just before I departure back to China. So happy to meet again. You know, so as Tanya introduced me, that I'm actually a fans of urban farming. You know, so we are running farm business, Shrub Garden. So actually, that is my hobby business, you know. But everybody get to know me as Shrub Garden guy. But actually, since 2007, so actually, I start with my career in the climate field. You know, so I work with GIZ and also later on the Clinton Foundation Climate Initiative. And then now with Institute for Sustainable Communities. So I'm currently the China Program Director, so responsible for entire operation in China. And also now it's also our scope is also reaching to the Southeast Asia, you know, so in this region. So very happy. So I'm going to share my screen. So I'm going to present today's topic, the social impact assessment on the three cities climate action, you know. Okay, so let's.
Everything is fine. We can see it, and now the presentation screen.
Okay. Okay, so so I don't need to introduce Guangzhou, Changsha, or Tianjin city background. I think everybody in this group knows China very well. So maybe I talk about a little bit on this why we want to do this social impact assessment on those three cities, right? So actually, we had a project back in 2016. So this is mainly about a scenario planning for the Chinese cities, early picking roadmap. You know, because our president made a pledge that China will reach its carbon emission by 2030. So at that time, we were hoping that the city can reach the peak as soon as possible. Okay, so as early as possible. So we did the roadmap scenario planning for 13 Chinese cities from 2016 towards 2020, you know. And then come up another topic is the carbon neutrality. So, and then 2021, we start another project. Also made the scenario planning and the roadmap for the three cities, Guangzhou, Changsha, and Tianjin. So this is carbon neutrality roadmap. So we missed something, you know, so because we come from NGO background, you know, so always think about the social benefit, so climate equity, you know, this kind of aspect, because scenario planning mainly on carbon emission and the economics, you know, but less on the social side. So we think we should do something on the social side, right? But we're still missing some tools, you know. So using the opportunity that we got support from Swedish Postcode Foundation. So we use the three cities example as case study cities. So we develop so-called social impact assessment tool that can evaluate the city's climate action performance, especially on the social component. So that is come up with today's presentation. I'm going to show you some findings and results, and hopefully we can lead for some fruitful discussion. Yeah. Okay. So that's background. Again, this is the Tianjin and the Changsha and the Guangzhou. So in the north, middle, and the south of China. Probably you don't know the GHG emissions roughly at the 2020 level, right? So Tianjin actually has a very high emission, let's say because it's heavy industry city and a port city, right? So they have 170 million ton of CO2 emission per year. Okay, so and then Changsha has less emission, so like 63 million ton of CO2 emission per year. And then Guangzhou, of course, Guangzhou is a mega city. It's larger than the two cities, but its emission actually a little bit lower than Tianjin. So because Guangzhou is more service-based industry, right? So you have 110 million ton of CO2 emissions. Yeah. So this is basically this the three cities, and our program starting from 2021 to 2022. This is actually, like I said, supported by Swedish Postcode Foundation. The program name called Deep Decarbonization and Equitable Long-Term Climate Strategies Alliance, because these are three cities forming a group. And also we want to further expand to another 30 cities in this region, not only in China, but also Southeast Asia. Yeah, so this is the scope. Okay, so what's the key questions or objectives of this study? So like I said, this actually in old time, we always very specialized on this scenario planning or modeling, data modeling. We can do projection, emission projection, starting from 2015 towards 2060, let's say like this, yeah. So so this is a very science-based target setting for the cities. So this is the first component. The second component is today's topic, right? So how to integrate the equitable strategies into the climate action, So this is a new thing for us, and also it's a very new thing for China. Maybe not. I think Europe is much more advanced than China, especially thinking about this combining climate and then society. Yeah, I think Europe is much more advanced. And also at the U.S. side, U.S. is a very community-based approach, right? So so China is just beginning to think about this way. So so we developed this tool. Hopefully, can also contribute to bring more equitable climate strategy into Chinese cities. So this is the objective. Okay, so again, this methodology, we have four modules in the methodology. So the carbon inventory module, yeah, this is have been 20 years history in the past. And then scenario planning module, like I said, we did a lot of data modeling, projection. So this is also pretty matured techniques. And then the carbon economy module. This is also we developed over the past 7 years. Because every city think about whether it makes sense, in terms of a cost benefit to do any climate action, right? So whether it's justified or not, right? So this carbon economy module is very important. And then the fourth module is the social impact assessment module. This is a very new to China. So we specifically developed a social impact assessment tool for this module. So this is 4 modules comprise this comprehensive approach for this Delta program, because we named the program called Delta program. So, and also we throughout this study that we made made the knowledge product. So we just published last year together with Swedish Postcode Foundation. We call it a social impact assessment tool on equitable climate strategy and action plan. So the idea actually, let's say officially, so when the city develop a climate strategy or roadmaps, for no matter for carbon peaking or carbon neutrality, so this is SIA tool. The SIA stands for social impact assessment. This SIA tool is always help the stakeholders during the planning process. Yeah, first of all, to provide a framework, to evaluate the current performance based on 4 principles. Let's say inclusiveness, accessibility, affordability, and resilience. Actually, these 4 principles is not invented by us, so we can refer to the UN sustainability indicators, and also refer to Asia Development Bank, the sustainable cities principles. Yeah. So we think this 4 principles is very crucial, almost represent all the framework is extremely important as a foundation, The second is our approach, so we think we need to quantify it because it's a social study. So the data and the quantification is very important. So we develop an indicator and score system. So we can evaluate each indicators and then give the city the scores on each indicator, and then we can make up the entire score or general score for the city. And then every year you can continuously monitor the progress, and then you can check the performance over the time, So this is the idea, So we have a framework, and also we have an indicator score system. Yeah. So this has come up with the indicator systems. We have 6 dimensions called SIA indicator system. You can see the 6 dimensions. The first one is green jobs. Okay, this is very important. Later on, I will explain more the current challenges. Yeah. So the first dimension is green jobs. The second is public service. The public service, of course, covers a lot of things. For example, affordable housing, infrastructure, retrofitting, and coverage of households with the separation. All this kind of public service. Yeah, but they relate to climate action. Okay. And then the green transportation. Okay, so I don't need to talk about more about this. It's very important in China because the transportation emissions continues going up very sharply, in China. And then environmental health, because this is something we in China is very, very sensitive over the several years, because we have called Blue Sky project, which is implemented by the Ministry of Ecology and Environment. So everybody knows that the air pollution, we're fighting with air pollution. We've made a lot of tremendous progress on it. So and what's the core benefit between this environmental health, solving the environmental health problem, and also the climate action? Okay, this is a benefit for human being mostly. Yeah. And then the fifth element or dimension is the energy affordability. In China, actually, we performed very good. But in Germany, it's an issue, right? So because the war, the energy price going up, everybody suffers, right? So energy affordability is I think it is a very, very important issue as well. And the last one is good governance. So this is all related to public information disclosure, third-party evaluation, all those indicators. So this is 6 dimension or 6 element in this indicator system. So today is the China launch, right? So we have a cookbook. We have a cookbook. Well, I propose a launch this kind of Ji Cai Doufu spring roll, right? So you will see a lot of ingredients inside. But for this equitable climate action, also we have menus for Chinese cities. Yeah, so it's very important for the climate actions for the city administrators and also for business. Yeah, we have to know that there's the action items which we can take. For example, the climate action also we need to think about promoting employment, right? So green jobs, creating jobs. Okay, so retrofitting older constructions, let's say old residential houses, so this is one side you will improve energy efficiency, reduce carbon emission, but also improve the living quality, the house quality. This is also important issues. And then constructing affordable housing. The China cities every year, to manufacture or to make let's say billions of square meters of new house, right? So this is something, and the government always want to do a lot of affordable house for the general public. But the thing is, we have to realize that a lot of affordable housing is developed in a very fast mode, right? So we have to start the construction this year, and end of year the people started moving in, right? So there's the quality issues, I think, is remain pretty our concern, right? So whether this is really a green building, certified for the affordable houses. So this is our concern, right? Yeah, so affordable housing, and then sorting the garbage. Every Chinese cities have actions to separate garbage. So this is the whole point of a circular economy. So I know in Europe is people are very much focusing on this circular economy thing. In China, I think also a lot of people linking with the circular economy, also with climate actions. Yeah, combine this thing together. Okay, so there's other things, right? I just quickly read through it. For example, core control, because we have a core cap in China. Yeah, so every city has its own policy or to control the core consumption, right? Because this is much related to it, also with carbon emission and also public health, right? And then engaging in the Blue Sky project, prioritizing public transit, encouraging 15-minute community. Everything can be solving in a 15 minutes walking distance, right? So the community has a full function, school, hospital, shopping, everything, so you don't need to drive car, for example. And then develop city parks, everywhere in China. A lot of small parks in the city, but the larger we call the countryside park in the very larger scale, in the outskirts of the city, and also constructing the sponge cities. It's a very typical project in China that we think about this resilience, to build the urban resilience, using these sponge city initiatives, right? So this is these action items China often taken. Some of them is our recommendation. We do have weak points actually. Some of cities not necessarily already being very good performance, but I think it's we stress that the cities should move on this direction. Yeah, this is a very detailed explanation, so for the green jobs, why it's important, right? So you see, this is new industries, renewable industries really replace the old energy intensive industries. We see the trends actually, and also in the public service. So this is very important because a lot of money right now actually is public money dealing with the climate issues, right? Whether this is a service or infrastructure really cover the vulnerable groups, right? So, or really benefit the poor people, urban poor people, or rural poor people. This is a issue we always want to know, actually. So, and also whether this affordable housing, whether it's like I said, is whether it's green certified or really energy efficient. This is a question mark for us. And then whether this old building retrofit, because for example, in Shanghai, the city I live, and the government spend a lot of money on the old residential community retrofits, but most of project actually just for good looking, or to plant more trees, this kind of a beautification, let's say beautification work, but less on the energy efficient side. So we should do something really for better energy efficiency in those old compounds, right? Let's say like this. Okay, so in the public service, there's a lot of things can be done. Yeah. And then green transportation, like I said, we create this so-called 15 minutes walk. This is actually very typical right now in China. Every cities have some strategy or have a plan to create more and more 15 minutes a community, let's say like the walk community. Yeah. The healthy environment, like I already explained, right? So in our indicators, we actually provide 3 indicators, for example, to measure the urban green parks per person, right? The by area, and also the PM 2.5, this concentration. Every city has the data, yeah. And then coal consumption per capita. So we use this as 3 as an indicator to represent this healthy environment. So that's one thing that I want to mention, that because we are international NGO, so it's very sensitive to handle the data. So all our data analysis is based on public available data. It's already been published officially, so we don't need to do extra interview or whatever to dig out the data. Actually, we just collect the data and do analysis, yeah, using the methodology to do the analysis. This is the only way we can do some work right now in China. Okay. So this is all based on published and available data. Yeah. And the energy affordability, this is actually I think is a very new thinking in China. So the idea is that because the energy price, is very sensitive for these low income families, right? Because all their expenses is fixed. If you have a little bit increase on energy price, they're going to affect the living quality. If they spend more on energy, then we will spend less on the food, for example. So especially for those low income families, the energy affordability is a very crucial thing. But it's a good thing about China, like I said, that our energy price is strictly controlled by the state. There will be not so dramatically change like electricity price or gas price. Is pretty stable. Although there's overseas price is up and down, and in the last 2 years was a tremendous high. But in China, this is a kind of I think is a welfare the government provide to all the people. So, but I think in Germany for sure, because I live in Germany for a couple of months, so I know this is the energy price is a continuous debate or topic, right? So yeah, and then the good governance. This is actually also a very important issue, because we always advocate the public participation during the planning process. but not all the city really can follow the protocol, so whenever there's for example, climate action plan come out, maybe they just put on the online for just 1 week time, right? And then it got get it published formally, right? So there's not sufficient time for really engage with public, right? And also the public participation is based on how much information you really release to the public, right? Let people know. I think this is also kind of short board. Let's say this is a short board for Chinese cities, so public generally don't know much about the city emissions, where are these biggest emitters in our city, for example. So those kind of informations I think need to be provided to the public in order for people really to participate in this I don't call it a decision-making process, but at least on the consultation process. Yeah. So so this is good governance. So we have also the 3 indicators listed. So all in all, this is 6 elements of the indicator system, comprised of 15 indicators. So those 15 indicators can represent the status or the performance of the city on those climate actions or the climate action plan, Okay, so this are some findings. You will see that we made scores for those 3 cities. This diagram shows exactly how much score these 3 cities get, right? So generally, we'll see like Guangzhou performing good. So the Guangzhou get a 71 score points. Tianjin is 54, so a little bit under average. Changsha get a 58, so similar to Tianjin. And then you also can see in different elements or different dimension how the city performed. So in this diagram, you will see, so let's say in the energy affordability, we are pretty good, right? In China, so it's almost close to 1. 1 is the good, 1 is good, right? And then 0 is not good or has no data. Yeah. So you see the green jobs has no data basically for those 3 cities. We don't find very solid green jobs data, so we didn't give them score at all, But for other elements, so they all have some scores, and then you will see also this in the environment health element. So their score is a little between 0.6 to 0.8. This is the score. And then at the good governance side, you see some city really perform good. For the Guangzhou, there's very good. So all the 3 indicators are fulfilled, get 1. And then the other 2 cities, so they're just a little bit above the average, like a 0.06, So this is the general scores of those 3 cities. So if you do analysis for those 3 cities, we will see that, like I said, the green jobs, we don't have data, so we cannot give them score, For the public service, yeah. So let's say the cities scored between 0.4 to 0.7, for public service. So something good, something bad, The other things are similar. I just continues going to the next slide. Yeah, this is more detailed for the points. Yeah, so you will see in Guangzhou, in those 15 indicators. Yeah, so there's 3-4 indicators below the average. you know. So what are those 4 indicators? For example, the percentage of population with green jobs, no data, okay? So there's a room for improvement. And then coverage ratio of a built up sponge city area is also below the average, because China has a sponge city indicator initiative. So every city has to meet the minimum 15% of urban area as a sponge city standard, you know. So Guangzhou didn't meet the standard so far. Yeah. So I think they are working on this dimension, right? And then the another indicator they didn't perform very well is a percentage of energy saving retrofit in the old residential communities, you know. So they have also a room for improvement. And then the coal consumption per capita. So Guangzhou actually has a higher coal consumption rate comparing to another 2 cities. That's data which I feel pretty surprised, you know, but actually it's true, you know. So this is something, you know, this is a very interesting part that before we saw that the city, you know, much more clean than Tianjin or Changsha, but actually they consume more coal, you know, per capita, you know. So this is the findings of Guangzhou city, and you will see this is the points, let's say the dashboard for this Changsha, you know. So Changsha has actually a lot of weak points. You see have 7 weak points between 0 to 0.6. You know, those are weak points. Yeah. If we look into the indicators, yeah, you will see 1, 2, 3, 4. Those are all weak points. So they have more weak points like proportion, like number 3, right? Proportion of green building certificates in affordable housing. So they don't have a really program to promote the green buildings in affordable house. So Guangzhou has no such plan or initiative. So we're saying this is a weak point, you know. So we actually provide a recommendation for the policymaker, you know. So I talked to the city administrator. So say, you know, if Guangzhou still doing a massive affordable housing program, so we have to think about green building, you know, more green buildings. And then the number 9, the weak points is the annual average concentration of a PM 2.5. Sorry, this is Changsha, not Guangzhou. Sorry, I misspelled. So this actually the Changsha's air quality is not so good. You know, this is I can see from my eye because I travel to Changsha maybe 4 or 5 times a year. You know, every time I go there, because I travel always from Shanghai to Changsha, the air quality is always worse than Shanghai. You know, Shanghai is not a really good air quality city, but Changsha definitely worse than Shanghai. So, and also percentage of the energy expenditures in the low income households. You know, so this actually is because of a lack of data. You know, in Changsha they didn't really collect those data. You know, so we cannot provide a score for it. And also the 13 indicator like public participation in the planning process, because it's missing basically. There's no such thing or very solid process for public participation. Yeah. So this is Changsha. So they have 7 weak points, let's say. So they have a big room for improvement. So, and then this Tianjin. Tianjin also have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 weak points. You know, below 0.6. And then what's those indicators? Yeah, like in Guangzhou, you know, similar. So green jobs, sponge cities, old residential community retrofit. Those are weak points. Yeah. And then in Tianjin, the weak points also the 15 minutes community, 15 minutes walk community. So Tianjin doesn't have those initiatives when we did the study, the 2021, 2022. I think now they are catching up, because the other city are doing this, right? So they feel, okay, there's a pressure. So this kind of 15 minutes community has to be lifted in the agenda, okay? And then the annual average concentration of PM 2.5. So it's obvious the northern China, the air quality is much worse than the south, right? So the Tianjin air quality is not good. And then the 14th indicator, the third party evaluation. There's no such thing in this the carbon emission plan or implementation. So whenever this is there's a plan or implementation, there's a missing of this third party variation. So I think this is important in the good governance side, because this city spend the public tax money, for climate action. Okay, so this is Tianjin. So there's a 6 weak points. So if we make summary on these fundings, so we use SI to analyze Changsha, Tianjin, Guangzhou's case study, right? So the project actually can provide scores on those 15 indicators based on public available data, like I said before. The conclusion is that the energy consumption, the affordability, basically the affordability, and then environmental health, and the green transportation or green travel, actually those 3 cities' performance are quite close. So ranging from 0.6 to 1. So let's say it's good. It's all excellent performance. But on this household energy consumption burden for each city, so let's say it's relative reasonable and good, right? So the poor families don't feel much burden on energy price. This is a good thing about China. And also you will see this environmental health tremendous improvement during the last years, especially this Blue Sky project. So in public service, this we have to accelerate the green affordable housing. So not only just by how much square meters we build for affordable housing for the middle or small income families, but also how much or how good quality of the house or apartments for those group, to live, right? And for the data analysis point of view, that for green jobs, all the cities have no data, so this is something really requires improvement. So, and then this is a discussion. I hope I still get some minutes, and I didn't control my time. Tanya, if I overspend the time, just let me know.
Okay. Wonderful. So you prepared already, or you want to?
I have 2 slides for question, for discussion. I just go ahead, okay? Maybe 2 minutes.
Please,
okay.
please.